Welcome back. Israel's President Herzog says there is no plan to launch a military offensive in Turkey. This a day after President Erdogan warned Israel had its sights on his country after the fighting in Gaza and Lebanon. Herzog said that, on the contrary, Israel has great respect for the people of Turkey. At the same time, Turkish naval ships carrying some 2,000 Turkish citizens fleeing the fighting in Lebanon are set to arrive. To talk about all of that, we're joined by Dr. Sinan Ciddi, a senior fellow on Turkey at the Foundation for the Defence of Democracy. It's good to have you with us, Sinan. So why does President Erdogan persist in making this ludicrous claim? Does anyone really believe that Israel wants to invade Turkey?
Not outside of Turkey. I don't think anybody seriously believes that Erdogan believes that Israel has its sights set on Turkey. But I've also been following Turkish media in the past few days since he uttered those comments, and we've obviously written about it too. But if you actually sort of listen to Turkish citizens when asked, because there seems to be a sort of modicum amount of panic amongst sort of people who follow Erdogan closely in Turkey, who actually have brought into this narrative, and so I think, from my perspective, this is mostly for domestic consumption in Turkey, whereby Erdogan is still laser focused on finding ways to essentially sort of undermine Israel's sort of counterterrorism narrative on an international stage. But the actual sort of accusation that he's hurled, saying that Israel's interested in Turkish territory, is more to, in my opinion, sort of estimation, basically designed to sort of distract sort of opinion at home, whereby ordinary Turks are very critical of Erdogan, saying, look, the economy is in a terrible situation. There's very high inflation. But when you listen to people, in Turkey, when asked about this, they say, yeah, that's true. But look, we all have to come together, because what happens if Israel will invade us? We need to come around our leader right now. So I think it's intended as a distraction from, the horrific economic conditions at home for Turks. And Erdogan seems to have sort of caught a modicum amount of public attention over this. Yeah,
it's the older authoritarians' playbook, isn't it? Blame Israel rather than look at what's happening in your own country. Well, despite this escalatory rhetoric from Erdogan, and he has publicly embraced Hamas many times, there are signs that Turkey's NATO allies are turning a blind eye to this. We've got unconfirmed reports today that Germany's just agreed to a multi-million-dollar weapons sale to Ankara. I mean, do you think that Erdogan is confident that he can pretty much say what he wants and he will still get what he wants in the end?
At some level, sadly, yes. And so the reason for that is, look, Europe is in a very sort of weak position, if you can believe it, vis-a-vis Erdogan, simply because for years now, since the Syrian civil war started, Turkey has taken in millions of Syrian refugees, as well as other sort of migrants from places like Afghanistan and Iraq. And the way he has basically wielded that at home is to basically say, look, to Europe, essentially, he's basically made it out so that in response for, or in return for Europe providing funding for Turkey to house these refugees and migrants, that keeps them out of Europe. And so Europe refrains from criticizing Erdogan publicly for its domestic sort of lack of democratic governance in Turkey. It refuses to criticize Turkey's lack of progress towards European Union accession membership in any negative sort of reporting that it's traditionally done. But also, in the defensive realm, you can see that, the Germans aren't the only ones that have, sort of come on board with possibly selling military hardware to Turkey. But we've also seen discussions sort of revitalized in Europe. In the US level, we've seen elevated talks between Turkish and American sort of authorities, suggesting that there's exploratory talks to see if Turkey can be brought back into the F-35 program. And that truly is stunning to sort of observe at this point.
And what about the evacuations then from Lebanon, Sinan? Are more Turkish citizens expected to flee the fighting there?
I assume so, yes. I mean, this is part of Turkey's responsibility to sort of do what it can for its citizens and residents, or Turkish nationals abroad. I think Turkey is worried that this will continue to escalate. And pressure has been applied on the government to essentially find solutions. So Turkish evacuation military airplanes are there and overseeing, as I understand, a sort of pronounced pullout as the days continue. And we should probably expect more of that in the region.
Dr. Sinan Ciddi at the FDD, we appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.